Hello beautiful people, my name is Venti and today you're going to be seeing part 1 of Maas May. And I say part 1 because while I was editing it I realized that if I put the entire vlog of it into one video it would probably be about an hour long and no one has the time or the energy to watch that, and I don't have the time to let that render on my computer so that I can encode it and upload it. So I decided to split it right down the middle. I'm not gonna go into a long-winded explanation as to what Maas May is because you've heard me and Lou over at Books Are a Way of Life talking about it basically since late last month. So without further ado, I think I'm just gonna dive right in and we're gonna start with the day that I actually got A Court of Thorns and Roses in the mail. So stay tuned for that. So I'm looking super rough and I just recently choked on my own spit a little bit because I was super excited, but they're here. My books are here. So I took them out of the box because that has my shipping information on it, and I don't think, like, I like you guys, but we're just like, we're not there yet, you know? Here she is. Oh, God, and it's in such good condition too. I'm really, really pleased. And then there's this beast. Why did nobody warn me that this is approximately a gazillion pages long? Okay, I lied. Like, with the acknowledgements, it's 626 and it's not even the longest thing I've ever seen. But still, this is a brick. Like, if I threw this at someone's head, I'm not gonna do that because I'm terrified of damaging my books, but if I did, this would probably kill them. So I'm absolutely delighted that my books are here today, and I think I'm gonna kick it off with a reading sprint. I'm already like 3.5 days behind for this read along because the books weren't here, but no time like the present to start, right? So I'm gonna start this and I'm really excited. Okay, I know it's high fantasy and that because of that I shouldn't be surprised, but oh, look at maps. I love books with maps so much. I love it. Okay, it already has a vote of confidence from me. Hello friends, I just finished my first quick 30-minute reading sprint for A Court of Thorns and Roses. I'm about 50 pages in so far, and I'm really enjoying it. Thus far, it is a little bit info dumpy, but I guess that's sort of necessary when you're coming up with the lore for an entire world. I don't know, I generally prefer that sort of stuff to be more spread out throughout the story, but I guess it is pretty solid background information. It isn't too irritating to read right away. You can definitely see the Beauty and the Beast influences on this, but I'm only going to call them influences considering how many pains it seems that Sarah J. Maas has taken to sort of distance her story from that one. Of course, there's the sort of incompetent older sisters that always seem to follow Belle around. And of course, there's a very beastly beast who's come to whisk her away. But our Beauty, aka Feyre, isn't quite the Belle that we're used to. Because of circumstances that have sort of been keeping her family pretty poor, she's sort of had to harden herself and become this huntress. One thing I will say, and I know I'm only 50 pages in and that's not a significant chunk of the book, but still, it's a thing that kind of bothers me, is that some things seem a little bit... It seems like the plot is driving the story some ways. In the scene where Feyre is taken, I can't really see the motivation for the person that took her to offer her the choice that he gave. I'm gonna try to keep this spoiler free, but if you've read it recently, then you know what I'm talking about. I'm sorry about this. That's better. I think the reason that bit felt a little bit out of place is because it's very much the Beauty and the Beast story and not Sarah J. Maas's story. In order for this to be a Beauty and the Beast retelling, there are some elements that it needs to borrow from that lore to keep it within the realm of Beauty and the Beast retellings. So that might be why it felt a little bit out of place in the story, but thus far, I'm kind of enjoying it. I kind of wish that Feyre would stick up for herself. Like, she's got all the makings of being kind of a badass, but as of right now, she seems, despite being this huntress who's sort of taken up the mantle for providing for her family, she seems really passive. I think that's the right word. She's very passive. She just sort of lets things happen to her and she lets people walk all over her. And I can't say I'm a fan of that, but hopefully she will change, and hopefully being in Prythian among the fairies will teach her that she needs to grow a backbone in order to survive. More on that later. Stay tuned. So Tamlin's a bit of a jerk. I don't know if you guys know that. I'm assuming you do, but he's a kind of a giant jerk, and like, I get it. He's Fey nobility. He's gonna be a little bit entitled, but like, I don't like that Feyre doesn't stand up to him. I really wish she would. I realize that it's not entirely up to her, but I don't know. I don't like Tamlin. I don't like him. I hope I will, because I have a feeling that he and Feyre are going to end up being bunk buddies, and then I don't have any idea where Rhysand comes in, and everyone seems to be absolutely in love with him. You usually are into the main character's love interest, so I don't know what Sarah J. Maas did putting Feyre with Tamlin, because he's a jerk. Hopefully he changes. I'm gonna get some more reading done, and then I'm gonna eat my dinner, and I'm gonna probably call it a day around page 150-ish, I think, and we'll continue tomorrow. I'm on my way to the Boston Taco Festival, which is a thing that Marco, who's not there right now, but he'll be here in just a moment, and I and a friend of mine, Rachel, wanted to go to for a while. And while I'm waiting for Marco and while we're driving to there, I'm going to be reading some more of A Court of Thorns and Roses. I really don't understand why Tamlin gets such a bad rep. I don't know, maybe he really fudges stuff up later on, but as of now, his behavior is pretty in line with what is expected. All of fairy lore and Beauty and the Beast lore sort of points to him acting exactly as he does, which is just a little bit awkward and clumsy and a little demanding, but ultimately sweet, and I feel like he's pretty consistent as far as that goes. Feyre is a little less consistent as a protagonist. I feel like she has a lot of room to grow, and I'm only about a third of the way through, so I guess that makes sense, but I still would like to see a little bit more consistency in her character as far as how she reacts to certain things and why she reacts to them the way she does. I really like Lucien. I wish we had more girls around Feyre. It feels like a little bit of a sausage fest. I know there's only like 3 main characters, but I don't know. It sort of geeks me out a little bit. Also, where is Rhysand? Rhysand? There's a pronunciation guide in the back. I'll make sure to look at it after I'm done with this. Everyone seems to lust over him. Rhys is that fan favorite that everyone seems to like a lot, but he hasn't shown up yet. And it seems like Tamlin and Feyre seem to be the relationship that's going to be happening. And is he just like a side character that everyone really digs? Which, totally understandable, but also, you know? Is he like the Finnick Odair of the Court of Thorns and Roses world? That people just ship with Feyre because they think that she deserves a more swoon-worthy guy than Tamlin because Tamlin's an awkward bean? Don't answer that. I'll figure it out as I continue reading. I don't know. I just think it's weird that the person that everyone thinks about when they think of this series hasn't shown up yet, so yeah. I'm gonna continue reading now and fix my hair. So, see you later. Look at our feast. I love it. This is my joy. Hello friends, I am back from the Taco Fest and I'm at page 237. I've just met Rhysand and I don't understand the appeal. Like, I get that he's supposed to be super attractive, but he seems like a giant jerk ass at this point, so maybe unpopular opinion. I think I like Tamlin more at this point. He's a little bit controlling, but he's a Fey Lord, and that's, you know, sort of fairy lore, that's how they do. Rhys is, so far all we know of him is that he scares people and he beheads people, which, not sexy to me. Sorry about it. So I didn't really have any expectations going into A Court of Thorns and Roses, and I'm kind of happy about that because if I were to have expectations, it would have been that this would be a super high fantasy thing, and it's really not. It's a romantic pseudo-fantasy, which is to high fantasy what paranormal romance is to urban fantasy. I'll explain later. I'll have it maybe written out as a caption under my face. This is essentially a romance book, but with fairies, and I'm trash for it. I completely understand the appeal. I'm gonna take a shower now because I'm sticky from taco festing, and then I'm gonna read some more. Hello beautiful people, so it is the next to last day and my neighbor's dog is barking uncontrollably at nothing, as he does. You know, it's fine. Hopefully he'll stop because I'm planning on filming a couple of videos before I continue reading A Court of Thorns and Roses. So we've gotten to the part in the Beauty and the Beast story, and that's how I'm gonna frame it because that's not spoilery, everyone knows that story. So we've gotten to the part in that story where the Beast has sent Beauty back home, and as far as Feyre's life goes, I finally kind of like her family. Up until this point, they've been mainly insufferable. I guess when people are in a state of ruin is when their true colors come out to shine, but I don't know, I can't really believe that they were as bad as all that up until this point. Also, this book being marketed as young adult, boy, this is this is new adult. There's a chapter, late 20s, early 30s, I think. I think 27 is the chapter. Whoo boy. I was getting hot under the collar. I was reading that in public. That is not a thing you should read in public. So I definitely stand by what I said about this being literally just a romance book with like the guise of fairies and Beauty and the Beast retelling to cover up the kind of smuttiness, which I'm excited to get back into it. It's been a little slow thus far, but I have a feeling that Feyre's going to become a better protagonist very soon, by which I mean she will actually start making decisions that make sense and not just ones that are stupid and are clearly just there to push the plot forward. And I hope we get to see more of Rhys, because I still don't understand the appeal of him. And Amarantha, we finally have a name for the big bad evil, and I want to know about her. Like, we get a lot of hearsay, but I don't know her, I don't feel like, and I feel like I should by this point, you know? Like, I'm halfway through the book. I ought to know what it is that's ruining this world. Anyway, I'm gonna film, and then I will read some more and let you know my thoughts. So I just finished chapter 39 of A Court in Thorns and Roses. I'm probably, since I only have about 50 pages left, not even, gonna finish it tonight and then do some discussing with Lou about this book, because I have lots of feelings. I do not understand the appeal of Rhys still. I don't know if his jerky behavior is because he's still stuck with Amarantha down there and he doesn't really have all the power that he'd like to, but the things that he makes Feyre do make me cringe and upset. It's gross. I don't like it. The book is finally picked up. It doesn't feel like just a romance book with fairies. It has started to feel like a fantasy adventure. I'm a little bummed that it took 3/4 of the book to get to this point, but I am enjoying it. The tasks that Feyre is going through are kind of the sort of thing that I wish I'd seen in Throne of Glass from Sarah J. Maas. They're pretty interesting. I like that Feyre has learned how to play to her own strengths. One thing that's kind of odd is that Rhys has sort of, well, he owns her now, in a way, for a week out of every month. And it feels a little bit Hades and Persephone, which is weird because Feyre's with Tamlin and she's in love with him, and that's sort of why she's doing all these tasks. I'm like, why is she Hades and Persephoneing with another dude? Oh, hold on. I'm Feyre. Hello friends, it is May 7th, and as of last night, I have finished A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas. I think that for the purposes of this vlog, since it's gonna be filmed throughout an entire month, I'm gonna take the end of the week to sort of really quickly give a non-spoiler review of each of the books, and then I'll do a massive spoilery series review at the very end. However, I still have a challenge to complete, this week's challenge, which is to make a mask like the whole entire spring court wears in ACOTAR. So I think I'm gonna do that first, and then I'll do my review while wearing the mask. Hopefully you'll be able to hear me. I guess I just won't cover my mouth. And then I'm gonna tell you some non-spoiler thoughts about ACOTAR. Stay tuned. Hello friends, it is animal mask making time, and then it'll be reviewing time, but I have a little bit of a dilemma. I don't know what animal to choose. My favorites are elephants and bees, and I don't think either of them is exactly good for making a mask out of. So I have a solution. I'm going to take this BuzzFeed quiz to figure out which animal matches my personality, and according to the answers, I am going to make my mask based on whatever they give me, because BuzzFeed couldn't be wrong, right? I got a panda, and I think that pandas are the sweetest. You know what? I'm jazzed about this. I'm excited. I can do this. I mean, just look at these guys. Oh, there? That's me. Yeah. And time to make a panda mask. Gonna be a thing now. I'm gonna be reviewing all the Book Bay books with something over my face. ACOTAR. Let's do a quick non-spoilery review of this book. So I have a lot of mixed feelings about A Court of Thorns and Roses. I gave it a 2.5 out of 5 stars, so it fell right down the middle for me between something I really liked and something I really didn't. The thing I found about Sarah J. Maas books is that they are basically romances with the guise of fantasy over top. And that's fine, except I'm always sold her books as though they are pure fantasy, and then I'm always just a little bit disappointed in what I get at the end. My hair down, my ears look ridiculous. with rubber bands pulling on them. There we go. Now I look more panda-esque, right? As far as things I don't like in books, I hate inconsistent characterization, and I felt like A Court of Thorns and Roses was full of it. I felt that Feyre's actions in the first 3/4 of the book didn't really match up with her actions in the last quarter of the book. Like, she just didn't make good decisions, and we got a little bit of that informed characterization with her where we're told she's a huntress and, you know, supposed to have really good survival instinct, but then doesn't, and it's really frustrating that she doesn't. And same for Tamlin. I know we get a sort of reasoning for his inconsistent behaviors at the end, but it doesn't make up for the fact that for the first 75-ish% of the book, he's acting really weird and inconsistent, so you feel like you don't know him. As a result, my favorite characters in this book were actually secondary characters. I ended up liking Nesta, Feyre's older sister, and I also like Lucien, who is Tamlin's emissary and best friends. I kind of ship Lucien and Tamlin more than I ship Tamlin with Feyre. As far as world building goes, there were a lot of info dumping monologues where literally pages were spent telling us things that could have been interwoven throughout the text. It feels like the story is being told to our protagonist instead of to us, and that's just not fun to read. I know this is like a really stupid peeve of mine, but I hate it when a female protagonist is like, I'm so ugly, and then she describes herself and she's literally a Victoria's Secret model. Feyre did literally that. She looked in a mirror and she described herself and she's like, I'm so ugly with my sharp cheekbones and upturned blue shiny eyes and golden hair and perfect body. I don't know. It rubs me the wrong way. And I know it's a romance book, so she's supposed to be kind of gorgeous and wish fulfillment-y, but it still is like, really? You're around like people that look like literal perfection and you still manage to look perfect? Come on now. But all that being said, there were some things about A Court of Thorns and Roses that I really did like. It's a Beauty and the Beast retelling, and my problem with most Beauty and the Beast retellings is that they shy away from the original legend of Beauty and the Beast. This one didn't. It followed the story basically to a T, and I like the strength of the lore. Also, there was a bit of Hades and Persephone in this, and everyone who knows me knows I'm trash for Hades and Persephone. I'm taking this off. That feels so much better. Yeah, so I really liked how the lore of fairy tales and various mythologies was woven into this. I was also a huge fan of the last quarter-ish of the book. It felt like I was reading a completely different book, and it was far more entertaining than the first 3/4 of it, and I really loved how well-rounded all the side characters were. I really wish that our main characters were well-rounded in the same way, but I don't know, I guess you win some, you lose some. So yeah, A Court of Thorns and Roses, 2.5 out of 5 stars, and I'm really excited for A Court of Mist and Fury because the way that this one ended made up for all the trash that was the first 3/4 of it. So I'm hoping that A Court of Mist and Fury will continue exactly where A Court of Thorns and Roses left off, and that it'll be great, and that Feyre will actually make good decisions. That's it. I don't know how to not be spoilery besides this, so I'm gonna cut this off. I know I'm not supposed to read ahead. I know I'm not. It's still May 7th, not May 8th, and May 8th is when we start this beast, but I really want to. Everything I said about A Court of Thorns and Roses is still valid. I still fall very much down the middle for my enjoyment of that book, but I will hand it to Sarah J. Maas. She really knows how to write a story that makes you want to continue reading the story. I'm addicted to the romance, and I'm not sorry. I can't wait for tomorrow and diving into this beast. I cannot wait. And I'm really excited to see what Starfall actually is. I'm assuming it's gonna be like a meteor shower, but then I'm thinking that might be like too simple. I don't know. I'm really excited. I'll see you tomorrow, guys. Hello friends, it is officially May the 8th, which means it is officially time for me to start A Court of Mist and Fury. The dust jacket is off because I can't read hardcovers with dust jackets while the dust jacket is on, and I am officially 0 pages into it, and I'm super excited. I'm thinking I'm gonna do a quick debrief. So here's what I think is gonna happen, because it's been bothering me since I finished the other book. Everyone seems to be in love with Rhysand. I'm thinking that the love triangle, or I guess it's not really a love triangle because she's still with Tamlin right now. I'm thinking Feyre is gonna ditch Tamlin for Rhys, and because of a line that was in A Court of Thorns and Roses, I'm thinking that Rhys is her mate. Tamlin told her that the mating bond was way stronger than the marriage bond. And I sound like a conspiracy theorist right now, but I'm not crazy. I feel it. I feel like she's gonna end up with Rhys because there's no other reason that everyone would be super in love with him. And I wanna know why everyone thinks Tamlin is a terrible person. Maybe it's because he won't let go when Rhys and Feyre are like, sorry man, mating bond? Maybe he's like Ted Mosby or Ross Geller or any other crappy 90s television boy who just won't let a girl make decisions for herself. That is my theory. I hope I'm proven wrong, because I don't want Tamlin to be a terrible person. Like, he was really awkward and Mr. Darcy-esque in the first, so I kind of want him to stay not an asshole. But that's what I think is going to happen. And now I'm going to read and see if my theory is proven correct. Oh, remember how I said I was gonna read yesterday? I didn't. I read the little prologue bit and part of chapter 1, and then life happened. So I'm gonna fix that up today. The goal is to hit about page 200, and then we'll see what goes from there. I'm really excited to read this, so I don't know why I just stopped. I don't know what my excuse is, and now I'm just filming this instead of reading, so I should probably start. I just bit my lip on the inside. That's... You know what? Great intro. That's basically how I've been feeling these past couple days. Like a sore inner lip that's been bit. So I got about 70 pages into A Court of Mist and Fury yesterday, and my head started hurting. And if you don't know, I'm a person that gets really terrible migraines. So after my head started pounding a little bit, it started pounding a lot of it. So I spent a lot of yesterday curled up in a corner on my bed trying not to throw up and die. But I feel a little better today. I'm gonna take a little break mentally and just watch a couple YouTube videos, maybe watch an episode of some trash TV, just to sort of make sure that I'm 100% healed. And then I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna hit the halfway mark of this book. I'm about, 70 pages in. I'm gonna hit page 300-ish, hopefully 400. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna read this for an hour, then I'm gonna take a break, and I'm gonna read When Dimple Met Rishi for like 15-20 minutes. And then another hour of this, and another 20 minutes of When Dimple Met Rishi. And hopefully just the break of having a cutesy contemporary will be enough to push me through another hour of reading. I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. Might be a terrible idea. If my head starts hurting, I will check in and let you guys know with my page count and what I'm feeling. As of right now, what I'm feeling for those first 70 pages, she did not wait. Sarah J. Maas did not wait to get back into those steamy bits. I was like 20 pages in and already somebody was getting head, and I'm like, and this is supposed to be a YA novel? Are you sure about that? It was graphic, and like I have no issue with that, but I'm not sure like a 12-year-old should be reading that, and 12-year-olds are some of the demographic for YA, so like maybe we should rethink the marketing scheme and strategy that we're using to sell the ACOTAR books, because yeah, there's some things that maybe are not suitable for children yet. We don't let them watch movies with graphic sex. Maybe we shouldn't let them read books with it either. And I mean, like, sexuality is not a thing to be policed, but I feel like there's some content that just, do you know what I mean? Like, there's some content that's not suitable for certain age groups, and SJM's sex scenes might be some of that content. I do like that Feyre is having a little bit of PTSD. I feel like that's really realistic considering she spent 3 months getting like mentally and physically tortured. I really appreciate that Sarah J. Maas didn't just sort of gloss over that. A lot of authors do, and it really frustrates me. Like, trauma leaves scars on an emotional and physical level, and I'm glad that that's being addressed. And I'm glad that we just sort of jumped straight into the plot. Rhys just swooped in and grabbed Feyre, and it was the sassiest of things I've ever seen. And she threw a shoe at him. That was great. So I'm really enjoying it so far, is basically what I'm trying to say. And I'm really excited to try my hour and then 20 minutes, then hour and then 20 minutes thing. And I will let you know how that goes. I'm sorry I haven't been vlogging much. My life hasn't been very interesting these past couple days. Like I said, I've just been migrainey and then like at home. But this Sunday, I will be going skydiving for my birthday. It's a little bit of an early birthday present from my boyfriend, so maybe you'll get to see me jump out of a plane. That's worth it, right? That's well worth the wait. And since I'm a star and I will be plummeting to Earth, if I don't get around to doing an artistic depiction of starfall, we're gonna consider me jumping out of a plane my version of. All right, I'm gonna stop talking to you guys and get reading. Actually, get watching, and then once my brain is completely okay, then I'm gonna get reading. Wish me luck, guys. All right, and it is time for me to start that first hour and then 20 minutes cycle. So I'm gonna stop this right now and get reading.
So I know why people hate Tamlin now, and I agree. Ooh, buddy, buddy, buddy. You don't do that to a girl that's clearly suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder, because Feyre's depressed. She's mad depressed, and it makes sense. She's also suffering from post-traumatic stress. Also makes perfect sense. Tamlin can choke. He's the worst. I want to say that it's a complete character 180 from ACOTAR, but we didn't really get his personality in ACOTAR, and that was one of the things that, like, I disliked about it. Boy, so really enjoying this. I just met the inner circle, and they're great. I think I love every single one of them more than anything. Amren scares me a little bit, but in a good way. This is everything that I wanted ACOTAR to be. This is high fantasy. This isn't a romantic pseudo-fantasy. The fantasy elements are taking precedence to the kissy stuff, which, yes, I'm really excited about all of it. And I really enjoy it. The hour of reading got me to page 180-ish. I just finished chapter 16, and that's so good. Things are happening so much faster than they did in ACOTAR, and the things that are happening, so the actual actions that are being taken, are so high stakes and tension-filled. This has nothing to do with book one. I almost, like, besides the characters, I almost don't read it as the same story. It almost reads like a fan fiction that's better than the original work. I'm into this. I'm really into ACOMAF, and I completely understand why people like it so much better than ACOTAR. I'm gonna read When Dimple Met Rishi for about 20 minutes, and then I'm gonna have lunch. Then I'm gonna continue with this, because, oh boy. Oh boy. I don't even have words. I'm sorry that this isn't coherent at all. I'm really, really enjoying A Court of Mist and Fury. Damn. I might have to give the entire Throne of Glass series another try, because if Sarah J. Maas has improved with writing that much between like 2015 and 2016, the second half of that series is probably really great. Everyone's white still, so that little bit of a complaint for Sarah J. Maas is still totally valid. But like, story-wise, plot-wise,
Thank you so much for watching part one. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up. And if you like me, maybe consider subscribing to this channel. Also consider subscribing if you want to see part two. But until then, I'll see you guys later. Goodbye.